Welcome to this special deep dive tailored specifically for the Scaling Legends feed. If you're a construction business owner listening to us right now, whether you're parked in your truck on a dusty site or, sitting in the back office, you already know the fundamental truth of this industry.
Oh, absolutely. The actual build part is rarely the hardest part.
Right. Putting steel in the ground, framing up a house that is honestly often the easiest part of the job. The real heavy lifting is managing the sheer volume of information. It's that constant communication bottleneck between the field and the office.
The endless coordination happening entirely behind the scenes.
Exactly. And you've probably felt this pain firsthand. Because as your revenue grows, that administrative burden, it grows right alongside it, usually at double the speed.
Yeah, it's great to be here for this deep dive. And you hit the nail on the head. We really need to establish a baseline perspective right out of the gate here. Technology in the construction industry should reduce your overhead, period.
It should be helping, not hurting.
Right. It should make your life easier, not add to the daily chaos. It sounds incredibly obvious when we just, say it out loud, but the reality on the ground is often the exact opposite. Too many guys are out there buying software that literally just creates more work for their team.
That is exactly our mission today. We're going to figure out how you can scale your construction business smartly, efficiently, and most importantly, without completely drowning in paperwork.
Which is the dream.
It is the dream. And to do that, we aren't just throwing darts at a board. All of the insights we are digging into today come from a highly comprehensive market intelligence report provided by Smart Business Automator.
And their data is incredibly solid.
It really is. You can actually find their full suite of resources over at smartbusinessautomator.com. We're going to rely heavily on their data to guide this whole conversation, separating the features that actually move the needle for your profit margins from the stuff that's, just expensive digital clutter.
Because there's a lot of clutter out there.
So much clutter. Okay, let's unpack this, because the first statistic from the report absolutely stopped me in my tracks. According to their market intelligence, construction teams are losing 11 hours every single week just tracking down project updates.
11 hours per person.
11 hours. Let's put that in perspective for a second. Imagine one of your project managers, let's call him Dave. It's 4 p.m. on a Friday. Dave is sitting in his truck, desperately scrolling through 3 different massive group text threads.
While his phone is dying.
Right. Checking personal emails, digging through some messy shared drive just to figure out if the drywallers are actually showing up on Monday morning.
It's brutal.
That is almost a full day and a half every single week, completely wasted on chasing down information that should realistically be right at his fingertips. Think about what your team could actually build if they got a day and a half back every single week.
What's fascinating here is the root cause of that massive time leak. Because it doesn't just happen in a vacuum, right? And it's definitely not because your team is lazy.
No, they're working incredibly hard just to find the answers.
Exactly. The report breaks it down clearly. 70% of contractors currently have absolutely no formal technology roadmap. They are essentially just winging it.
Slapping a Band-Aid on a broken arm.
Pretty much. They hit a pain point, they buy a piece of software to fix that one specific thing, and they move on. And on top of that, 71% of contractors say that using multiple disconnected tools makes sharing information across their teams incredibly difficult.
You end up with these massive digital silos.
Right. One system for accounting, another app for field notes, a scattered drive for blueprints, and a chaotic mess of text messages for urgent updates. These systems do not talk to each other.
And the irony here is just glaring. The data notes that 92% of construction workers are using smartphones daily on job sites. 92%.
Almost everyone.
Think about that. These are supercomputers sitting in the pockets of almost every single person swinging a hammer, pouring concrete, or managing a site. Yet, most companies are completely failing to leverage that mobile capability for actual project management.
We have the hardware right there in the mud and the dust.
Yes, but the management systems are still stubbornly stuck on a desktop back in the office.
That's the disconnect. And the real-world impact of this disorganization isn't just a minor headache. It's a compounding cost that eats directly into your hard-earned margins.
It's bleeding money.
It really is. It's not just about the annoyance of Dave looking for an email on a Friday afternoon. It translates into missed change orders that never get formally captured, approved, and billed to the client.
Because it was agreed to on a handshake in the hallway?
Exactly.
Right.
It means your administrative staff is doing duplicated data entry across 3 or 4 different tools, manually typing the same budget numbers over and over. which inevitably leads to human error.
Someone misses a zero and the budget is blown.
Right. It leads to lost documents that delay critical submittals and requests for information. Ultimately, your projects stall out because the right person simply didn't have the right data at the exact moment they needed to make a crucial call.
Here's where it gets really interesting. This report doesn't just point out the problems and leave us hanging. It identifies the specific solutions and features that actually solve this operational chaos.
Which is what we really care about.
Exactly. We are talking about the difference between software that looks pretty when a salesman demos it in a fancy boardroom, and software that actually gets used in the harsh reality of an active job site.
And that brings us to the ultimate golden rule of construction technology, which the market data emphasizes incredibly strongly. If your field workers won't use the software from their phones while standing on an active job site, it is the wrong tool, full stop.
It's dead on arrival.
It doesn't matter how robust your back end is for the office staff. It doesn't matter how pretty the dashboards are for the executives. If it fails the mobile usability test in the field, adoption will completely fail, and you'll just be paying a monthly subscription for yet another silo of missing information.
I love that rule. So let's get into the weeds a bit. Let's look at how specific features from Smart Business Automator actually solve these everyday nightmares, rather than just treating the symptoms. Let's trace a typical day on a site.
Let's do it.
Say your team is constantly playing a digital scavenger hunt. They're digging through endless folders, hunting for the latest version of a floor plan, or trying to find a specific site photo from 3 weeks ago to prove a footing was poured correctly.
Oh, the classic version control nightmare. You've got V2, V2 final, V2 final actual.
Exactly.
The solution there is their smart document organization. Instead of relying on an overwhelmed project manager to manually download, rename, and file every single email attachment into some nested folder structure, the system does the heavy lifting.
Which takes so much pressure off the PM.
Exactly. It auto-tags and categorizes all your project documents, plans, permits, photos, you name it. It all lives in one highly searchable place.
Okay, next scenario. PDS field updates. Let's be real. Nobody wants to sit in their truck at the end of a long, exhausting day with thumbs covered in drywall dust trying to peck out a massive, detailed field report on a tiny smartphone screen.
It just doesn't happen. Or if it does, the detail is terrible. Worked on framing today. That's all you get.
Which is useless to the office.
Right, which is why field reporting from mobile devices has to be completely frictionless. The fix for that is their daily log and meeting summaries feature.
How does that work in practice?
This tool allows guys in the field to essentially dictate or drop quick notes, and it turns those rambling field reports or messy meeting discussions into clear, mobile-friendly action items.
That's brilliant.
It is. It pulls out action items, assigns next steps, formats everything perfectly. Accessible from any device, meaning that the office knows exactly what happened on site before the super even puts his truck in drive to head home.
But getting the daily logs right is really only half the battle. What actually keeps owners awake at 3 a.m. is the financial side. It's the dreaded budget surprise.
Nobody likes those.
You think you're tracking well on a job, and suddenly you get a report on the 15th of the month and realize you were totally upside down in the framing phase, but the money's already gone.
Financial tracking has to be proactive, not reactive. Looking at a spreadsheet 2 weeks after the fact is basically doing an autopsy.
An autopsy on your profit margin.
Exactly. Smart Business Automator brings budget and variance insights to the table to fix this. It offers real-time tracking against your original estimates as costs are incurred. So leadership has visibility to say, hey, our labor costs on framing are spiking this week, and they can make critical adjustments immediately.
Rather than doing a post-mortem after the damage is done, which naturally leads to another massive delay, slow RFI turnarounds.
The worst.
The crew is standing around on site, literally costing you money by the minute while you wait for an architect or an engineer to answer a request for information about a clash in the plans.
RFI management requires aggressive, streamlined tracking. The system tackles this with an AI-powered RFI assistance feature. It drafts initial responses for you using your company's historical project data and existing records.
So you're not starting from scratch every single time.
Exactly. You review the drafted answer, tweak it, and send it off. It massively speeds up that communication loop.
Okay, let's talk about the hey while you're here problem. Uncaptured changes. A client walks the site, asks the foreman for an extra outlet on this wall, maybe a different tile finish in the bathroom.
Happens every day.
The guys on site do it because they want to be helpful and keep the client happy.
Yeah.
But it never gets written down, and it never hits the final invoice.
That is margin leakage 101. The platform's change order impact analysis doesn't just log the request, it evaluates exactly how every single change, even a small one, affects the overall timeline, the budget, and the downstream execution of other trades.
So you can actually present the true cost to the client before doing the work.
Right, and ensure every single change is captured, approved, and billed appropriately.
And finally, the administrative bottleneck double data entry. The project manager diligently enters a cost or a time card into the project management software, and then your poor bookkeeper in the office has to manually retype that exact same data into the accounting software.
It's mind-numbing, and that is where API and system integration becomes absolutely critical.
For the folks who aren't tech nerds, what does that actually mean?
Think of an API as a universal digital translator. It seamlessly connects your PM data with accounting tools like QuickBooks and Xero. The financial info flows smoothly without a single human having to act as a middleman typing the numbers twice.
Okay, I want to play devil's advocate for a second. I hear this list of features and it sounds amazing. But software isn't free. And the hidden cost of any new tech is usually the friction of adoption, the time it takes to train guys who have been running jobs with a legal pad and a tape measure for 20 years.
It's a very fair question.
Does the market data actually address that friction? What is the real financial payoff here?
The ROI numbers from the report are incredibly compelling. The data shows that companies who properly adopt this kind of unified technology see their profit margins increase by a median of 4%.
Wow. 4% straight to the bottom line.
Yes. Furthermore, 83% of adopters report an overhead cost reduction of 5% or more simply because they aren't paying for wasted admin hours. When you average it all out, the return on investment for getting this right is nearly 21%.
A 21% ROI is massive in an industry where margins can be notoriously razor thin. But I want to pivot slightly because the report highlights a major technological shift that is driving these returns, and frankly, it's happening way faster than a lot of people in construction realize.
You're talking about the AI revolution.
Exactly. According to the intelligence data, AI progress analytics in construction are projected to grow at over 14% annually. This isn't science fiction anymore.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the scaling equation for a construction business has historically been brutal. As your revenue grows, your administrative and coordination work scales up right alongside it.
It's a vicious cycle.
It is. In the past, without automation, a growing company really only had two bad options. Option A, you overhire a bunch of expensive admin staff to handle the mountain of paperwork, which completely eats up the profits of your new growth.
Right.
Or option B, you just pile the extra work onto your existing project managers until they completely burn out, drop balls, and eventually quit. Smart Business Automator exists to break that cycle by automating that entire coordination layer.
It's basically acting as an AI powerhouse for growing teams. Let's break down some of these AI superpowers mentioned in the report, starting with schedule risk detection. And we need to be clear, this isn't just a digital calendar with color-coded bars, right?
Not at all. These AI tools flag bottlenecks and risk areas before a 2-week delay actually happens. It looks at your activities and says, hey, you're going to have a labor crunch on the roofing phase next week based on historical trends.
So you can actually fix it before the rain starts pouring in. Another superpower that jumped out to me is document intelligence and compliance checking. Anyone who has ever had to manually review a massive spec book knows it is tedious, mind-numbing work.
And incredibly prone to human error.
You miss one line about a specific gauge of steel, and it's a disaster.
Exactly. The AI extracts all the critical details from those massive specs and catches gaps early. This drastically reduces the risk of expensive tear-outs and rework, or failing a city inspection just because a tiny detail was overlooked.
Then there is Smart Search. We all know the modern pain of trying to remember if a crucial decision with a client was made in an email thread, a text message, or scribbled on a napkin.
Smart Search uses natural language processing. That means your team can just ask the system, using normal words, to find exactly what they need across all files and communications instantly.
And maybe the biggest time saver of all for the folks actually running the jobs, the AI project assistant and automated report generation.
This is a game changer. It can answer questions across all active jobs and automatically generates executive summaries. It literally saves project managers hours of manual writing every single week.
So what does this all mean? How do you, the listener, actually apply this market data to your specific business right now? Because a $2 million custom home builder operates very differently than a $20 million commercial firm.
The report lays out a really clear decision framework based on company size. For companies under $3 million, the advice is to start simple.
Don't boil the ocean.
Right. Focus on scheduling, document management, and basic field reporting. The beauty of a platform like SBA is that it scales with you.
And what about that middle tier? The company's doing between $3 million and $10 million. It always feels like the tricky phase because the founder can no longer hold every detail in their head.
That is the crucial phase. At this size, AI handles the coordination burden so you can take on more projects without adding admin staff. This specific capability is the exact difference between scaling profitably and scaling your way into total operational chaos.
And for the big players,
Sure.
companies doing over $10 million.
At that level, full integration is necessary. You leverage custom AI workflows, deep API connections, and automated executive reporting. This raises an important question, though. How do you know if you are making the right choice before committing?
Right, nobody wants to buy a lemon.
The framework provides a very clear rule. The 30-day test. Whatever platform you choose, you must test it for 30 days with your actual team on your actual projects.
Out in mud.
Yes.
Yeah.
If your field workers won't use it from their phones during that test, walk away.
That is incredibly practical advice. We have covered a lot of ground today, from the staggering cost of an 11-hour weekly time leak to the specific AI tools that can automate the chaos of scaling. As we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with 3 specific action items for this weekend.
Things they can do right now.
Exactly. Action item number 1. Audit your team's administrative hours, honestly, for just 1 week. The real number will probably shock you. Action item number 2. Visit smartbusinessautomator.com to see exactly what an AI-powered project manager looks like in actual practice.
It's worth seeing with your own eyes.
Definitely. And action item number 3. Pick just one workflow in your company that is currently running on paper or a clunky spreadsheet, maybe it's your daily logs or your change orders, and commit to digitizing that single process this month. Start small, but you have to start now.
You really do.
If you got value from this deep dive for Scaling Legends, please make sure to subscribe, rate, and review us on your preferred platform. It genuinely helps the show reach more owners like you. Also, take a moment to share this with a colleague or a team member who desperately needs to hear it. And one last reminder, head over to smartbusinessautomator.com to check out all the incredible tools and data we discussed today.
I will leave you with this final thought to mull over. If your company is currently losing 11 hours a week per person to simple disorganization, what is the true ceiling of your growth right now? And what could your business actually build if you gave your team that time back?